Is Donald Trump crazy, or is he actually a genius? What did he say? I'm smart. What did he say from his first term, Jemma? What was it? The smartest guy in the world, he called himself, or...
Oh, goodness knows, he gets lost in the midst of crazy things that he's said.
So he's made a dramatic climb down after his tariff announcement caused an international meltdown. He has instead declared that all countries who didn't retaliate will now face the 10%, the lower tariff, for 90 days to give them a chance to negotiate deals. But China, who did retaliate, will now get a 125% tariff. The White House put up this tweet when the news broke. Sorry, I so mustn't do the voice. Do not retaliate and you will be rewarded. It's like a shakedown, isn't it? It's
like a terrible action movie.
And yes, to have capital letters, though, it's like someone's taken over the White House Twitter feed and they've only got one finger. This is what Donald Trump has to say about change in direction.
Well, I thought that people were jumping a little bit out of line. They were getting yippy, you know? They were getting a little bit yippy, a little bit afraid, unlike these champions, because we have a big job to do. No other president would have done what I did. No other president. I know the presidents, they wouldn't have done it. And it had to be done.
The previous night, this is an amazing clip I'm going to show you. It came in just too late for the show yesterday, but he'd been filmed mocking world leaders by saying they were lining up to speak with him. Have a look.
I'm telling you, these countries are calling us up, kissing my ass. They are dying to make a deal. Please, please, sir, make a deal. I'll do anything. I'll do anything, sir.
You know, I know it's funny. It's a comedy until the guy runs the world. And it's not diplomatic language. Let's start there.
You've just used the word, and I think this is what's interesting at the moment, is that he's not crazy and he's not a genius. What we're doing is that we're seeing a different form of politics.
Yeah.
I saw a Newsnight interview yesterday, and it actually described what I think was going on. It says, watching what's going on at the moment is like watching sausage being made. You don't particularly want to see how a sausage is made. It's messy. It's not diplomatic, and you're seeing it played out in public. And it may be the trend in politics is going to be you put it out there rather than all of this cussing going on behind doors and we don't know.
Maybe that's right, Jemma. And, you know, when you had Zelensky in and basically humiliated him and then, by the way, threw him out the White House, which people forget, as you say, it's how a sausage gets made.
No, it isn't. Why should one man govern the way that the entire globe behaves? He's a noxious, malevolent turnip as far as I'm concerned. And actually, it's really serious because there's one of two things going on here. He's either manipulating the market so that his rich pals can buy, which he essentially told them to do on Truth Social. And now they're looking into it. Have Congress gone and basically shorted the market and made loads of money?
You think that's right? Is that possible that you short the market for 10 days or no, 3 days?
It's
I don't know.
So there's that, which would be corrupt and also at the detriment to millions of middle-class Americans who quickly sold off their stock in a panic and now have many did.
You'd be crazy too.
Some did, more down the lower sort of chain, if you like. People horrified by their pensions going down. The stock market, the Dow Jones has recovered a bit, sure, but it hasn't gone back to what it was before. And actually, you know, he's disrupting global supply chains. He is ruining decades and centuries of, you know, political power and
maybe
relationships.
we got to a point where globalization needed to be stopped because actually we want to buy vegetables from the guy who's growing them down around the corner. In fact, we want to buy them from you.
What is happening is that you've got somebody that is bold. The first thing I want to pick you up on this is that you can't just say it's this one crazy man. You have to remember that the Americans voted him in. There's a lot of people in America that's really behind what he's doing. And also, what I think we need to understand is that politics and business does not mix. And that I think there's a lot of politics going on, and it may have a detrimental effect. It may have a detrimental effect to business in the short term. But if I fundamentally believe that something needs to be
Oh,
done
I'm sorry.
about China.
Right, okay, I'm sorry. I'm not biased. I know that 80 million people, whatever, voted for him, but I'm not Missed It Meg, but I'm going to say this presidency is not going to end well for your average American. So, okay, if his big idea is to take America back to what it was in the 50s and to have everybody manufacturing in the Rust Belt, why hasn't he built anything? Why hasn't he put any infrastructure in? Why hasn't he figured out where that workforce is
Doesn't
coming
he think
from?
the market will do that?
No, how? How does it correct? By raising prices on the cost of everything for normal Americans, and then what? Like, there is no massive brain there. He called transgenic mice transgender and didn't understand his mistake.
Yeah, what's he
told
signing?
people
What's
to
this one?
inject
This is
bleach.
another. So he's governing. I'm just sort of interrupting because I saw him sign an executive order yesterday that was another culture wars thing, and he's worked out a way of governing without Congress, which is revolutionary, actually.
And fascistic.
Is it? You think so?
Yes,
he
it
just
is.
basically Congress has not even got its feet under the desk yet.
Yeah, and he's making sure that he's controlling which journalists are allowed to ask him questions.
If you don't call it the
He
Gulf
is
of
trying
America.
he's trying to infiltrate the judicial system. The man is dangerous. He's very, very narcissistic.
Before you come back in, can we take a call? Brian Newport, crazy or genius?
I think he's an absolute genius. All you got to do is look at the UK and look to see the past governments over the years have let cheap imports in. Now we've got no industries left. There's no jobs for people.
Yeah.
There's nothing. And
but we let them in for a reason, don't we? We let them in because it means we can buy a pair of jeans for less than the price of a cup of coffee. And I'm not even joking. Right?
No,
and there's a
but
reason we
still-
want to do that, Brian.
Yeah, but still, look at us now. We've got nothing.
Yeah, we got cheap jeans.
But the power that it's given China, is that in the long run is dangerous.
Well, maybe, maybe he's right. Let's see how that. Can you go with him on that, Jemma? That actually smashing China up with this 120% tariff is going to. Let's see.
So
Maybe that'll
yes,
work.
China is this huge behemoth. I don't think, by the way, it was Donald Trump who blinked. The reason he suddenly paused tariffs
blink with
everywhere
China.
else was not the plan. It was because he wiped 9 trillion off the global markets, and everybody around him is going, "What are you doing?" The idea that it's got it all worked out is for the birds. He clearly does not.
Pat is in London. Hi, Pat.
Good morning. It's Pat Jennings here in London.
Pat Jennings, of course.
Before I say anything, Jeremy, I'd like to wish you all the best with your book launch.
Oh, gosh, that's kind of you.
you're-
Well, how lovely of you. Thank you.
And also, Jemma Forte is right. The man is nasty, a bully, intimidator, and we in this part of the world shouldn't put up with this. We shouldn't be bowing to him. Jemma always speaks the truth, and he's just a bully, and we can't be putting up with this
Well,
anymore.
I think this thing of the White House tweeting, do not retaliate and you won't get hurt, is a really manipulative thing to say.
And buying good time to buy, he put on Truth Social, when the stock market was about to crash. He wrote that.
It's not exactly a secret plot if he's putting it on Truth Social, is it? So, Pat, what do you think? There could be a level of genius here because it's so unpredictable.
Jeremy, Pat Jennings in London is saying he's not a genius. He's evil. He's bad. He's a bully. And like the classroom bully, everybody gives in. You have to stand up to a bully. I always, in Dublin, in my college, I always stood up to a bully, even if they were bigger than me, and put them down. And that's what we need to do. We're being intimidated by the United States of America for too long.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question, Pat. Because you're from Ireland. Ireland's a very religious country. Trump is backed by a lot of so-called evangelical Christians, all right? And they're the sort who wear kind of the blouses without with the full necker, whatever, I mean, they're dressed, my question is this, Pat, is when you've got such a conservative base, why would you use a phrase like kiss my ass, which is so offensive?
It's absolutely disgusting.
But why would he do it? I don't get it.
Well, it's disgusting. And these so-called Christians are not Christians at all. Because if you love Jesus Christ, you're following the Lord Jesus Christ, he would not be talking in such a way. He would not be degrading women as he does over the years, the way he spoke about their private parts and everything. It's absolutely disgusting.
Okay, Pat Jennings, thank you so much. Thank you. Interesting.
Also, this tariffs idea has happened twice before, and it led to the Great Depression. So you have to be dead, basically, to give it another go, like think that it's a good idea?
I don't know. Remember,
in
since...
the 1928?
Yes, the 20s, that's true. The 29 was the Depression, 20 was the tariff thing. But that's 100 years ago.
Yeah.
And since then, you would argue, people up and down this country have been shafted by cheap imports. They lost everything. They lost everything.
But then you have to have a proper plan in place to bring it back.
Well, why not just let the market do it?
The thing is, the world is much smaller. Yes, globalization does exist because we
dead
trade.
globalization.
So, wait a minute. On the one hand, you're going, oh, it's dead globalization, and yet we want to do a free trade with America. Like, make that make sense.
You know, America is richer than it was, 50 years ago. Colin in Glasgow, hello. Is he crazy?
He's crazy and a genius.
Well, yes, that's a good point. I thought you might put the words, someone would put the two words together. So crazy and a genius. Why do you say that?
Well, I think that Donald Trump, when he was inaugurated and as president, he said a few things that he was intending to do with America. And the way I see America just now is they're a superpower with a great private enterprise, businesses, social care, things like that. The thing that I think they spoiled...
He's not watching the
TV.
I think he's going slow because he's trying to work out what...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
No,
Yes,
I don't.
seen that.
All right.
Hold on.
Yeah, come on, Colin.
No, that's that muted.
Well done,
Okay.
Colin. Yeah. Where were we?
We were talking about the craziness side.
Yeah.
We're talking about the genius side. We're talking about the craziness side. What he's doing with the tariffs is far absolutely ridiculous.
Oh, you think he's... I thought you were saying he's a genius.
He's a genius in respect of the business that America run.
Okay.
Businesses within America, like their car plants, their steelworks, their oil. They've got big retail companies. I was reading the other day they're going to be building a big theme park in England.
Thank you, Colin. That's good.
He managed to bankrupt a casino. Do you know how hard that is, this genius businessman?
Yeah.
They also said if he'd just got the money he'd inherited from his dad and just not done anything, he'd be richer.
Well, he got re-elected, and you can't, as you say, that in the end is what it's about. And they saw what he was like, and they voted him back. So, welcome. Wilfre and Jemma are with us. We'll be asking later if garden gnomes are naff. I mentioned the executive orders, and Trump has worked out he can do a lot without Congress getting in the way if he uses this device called executive order. He's done more than 60. And the one I saw last night, I found it now, it was an executive order on shower pressure. So have a listen to this.
The first of these is an executive order. The Biden administration launched what you've called a war on showers. They had certain regulations that basically killed the water pressure of showers and other water appliances.
You can say it. Go ahead. What are the appliances?
I mean, it's everything, sir.
Sinks and toilets.
Dishwashers, toilets, sinks. But the shower heads are a huge
There's no
deal.
water. You don't get water. It's ridiculous.
So with this executive order, we're effectively going to be reversing that set of regulations to ensure that Americans have choice in the consumer market. If they want a low-flow shower head, they can buy one. If they want a real deal shower head, they should have the ability to get one. That's true.
If you buy a new house, you pay a lot of money, and the developers, you're not allowed to do anything more. They put restrictors on. They used to have a restrictor where you could take it out, but now they weld it in. And you take a shower or wash your hands, whatever you do, including dishwashers where no water comes out. But you wash your hands, and in my case, I like to take a nice shower to take care of my beautiful hair.
It's okay, so there we go.
To be fair, he needs high pressure, like a jet wash, to get all that foundation
It's a soap
off.
opera, and you can see
It is, and of course, we joke about it, but some of this stuff resonates. People don't like having to flush their loos twice.
Exactly.
They don't like being told they can't have proper
why
pressure.
Is it there? It's to
They don't like
conserve
using
water.
paper straws. There's another one. He said they can explode in a minute.
He is so facile, and more importantly than that,
It's important
there
to
is-
these people.
It
See,
is
that's the thing about.
important.
And I think this is the thing about
It's
politics.
clever.
What he's learned to do is that he's learned to actually
Oh, my God.
talk to the people who's voted him in, not the
So
commentators.
shall we just ignore the corruption then that's in plain sight? He is also in
The answer, I'll give you an
Oval
example,
Office.
Jemma, where he says we are not having men competing in the Olympics in women's events. Now, you may disagree with that, but that's an absolute
No, I agree.
open goal for him.
In sport, fine. But Why are we not focused on the fact that he's just standing in the Oval Office pointing at a member of his administration going, he made 900 million this week. That is corruption.
Okay, I don't know. Because I don't think he knew he was going to replace these two. I think he knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
Mike is in Cheshire. Crazy or a genius, Mike?
Yeah, good morning. I know you said before the break, choose one or the other, but I'm going down the middle. I don't think he is either. What I think he is something that the world is simply not used to.
Exactly.
And that is someone who ran for office, made promises, and immediately began to honour his promises. And I only wish our people would take a leaf out of his book.
Well, how does reversing the tariffs fit in with that?
Yes.
No, but he's reversed.
But he hasn't reversed them yet. He's given 90 days.
He's cancelled them.
Did he say
They're never
like
coming back.
9 trillion off global markets? Didn't remember.
Yeah,
that
but
bit.
Mike, as you say, he's doing what he said he would do, and you like that.
Yeah, he was elected by the Americans to look after America. Now, we might not like some of the things he's doing. You might not like all of the things he's doing, because some people, I think, will criticise him for existing. But he was elected to look after America,
Jemma.
not the UK.
How are Americans better off now?
He's not even
Due to what he's done.
Early days.
Yeah, early days.
Is it, Mike, the objection surely is that people who worked for the government didn't know they were going to lose their jobs. And we're talking here about park rangers. We're talking about people who did foreign aid. We're talking about even air traffic control, as discussed a lot. We're talking about anyone who's involved in any kind of diversity thing. We're talking about a military history professor at one of the military colleges.
But he's reducing the state, which is a good thing.
But he didn't necessarily tell us he was going to do that.
No,
With social security.
Yeah.
No, but I know
But maybe
he
that's what people want because the state's too big.
The state is far too big. So if you were thinking about that, well, they are thinking about that in this country.
Yeah, well, they are, but they'll never do it like this. But the trouble is, when you do it like this, you get a kind of power cut, which is what's happened. Mike in Cheshire, thank you so much. A lot of people defending Trump. Andy in Cornwall, crazy or genius? One or the other, Andy, please.
He's probably crazy, but more importantly, he's a capitalist, and that's what he was set out to do. That's what the American people want. They're a money-orientated bunch. You can call it corrupt, and in many ways it is, but that's capitalism. He's a multimillionaire.
Andy, is the trouble with capitalism, though, that it doesn't spread itself evenly? That's what we've kind of learnt in our society in the last only 20, 30 years.
Don't care about that. He doesn't care about that. That's not necessarily what it's about.
Well, I'm going to completely disagree because the majority, a huge swathe of the people who voted for him, it was on the price of eggs. It was on the price of their groceries. But the people he's enabling are multimillionaires and billionaires.
Andy? No, gone. Richard in Buckinghamshire, hi.
Yeah. I mean, if we look at Donald Trump's daddy's money, daddy left him multiple millions.
Yeah.
Donald Trump then made it into multiple billions. I'd say that man is an absolute genius. And the United States of America are going to be massively richer and safer because of Donald Trump.
What about, Richard, just on the many things he's doing, one of them is completely cancelling out of all the climate change stuff and going back to coal, and he's insisted that all of his cabinet members, if they use the word coal, have to say the word beautiful in front of it. Okay. Clean and beautiful.
Right, Jeremy, what I will do is just say that anybody who believes this climate change rubbish has been brainwashed by the internet that's been perpetrated. That's where it's been perpetrated. That's fake news, and I really don't enter into that.
There's no question. Richard, you're not a scientist, with great respect, and I'm not. But the scientific consensus is overwhelming here that the climate is changing and human beings have got a large part in that.
Yeah, which scientists are those? Those are the ones who want you to believe it. I'm going with the ones who are saying it's rubbish.
Okay, right. Well, there we are. I'm snookered there because I haven't got. I can only give you. What, you don't agree with him, do you?
Oh God, no.
I mean, in the end, we know it's happening. We're just not sure what we can do to change it. That's the area of argument. Thank you, Richard. Interesting. Gareth in Abergavenny. Hello.
Good morning, sir.
Hello, Gareth. Sorry, we got delays on the line. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Just a bit nerved at this Trump kind of sycophantic kind of worship of him. I'm disgusted at this man.
Well, lots of people saying he's a genius. We've had like 3 calls in a row now saying the guy is a genius and we need a Trump ourselves.
No, we don't. No, we don't. Because I would do jail time. Being an ex-military vet, I would do jail time.
Well, let's not, necessarily go there. Why, though? Because in the end, he's got his eyes on the prize.
I have family going back to the Second World War, right? Desert Rat Rider. He fought and died for this country. And you got the kind of absolute moronic comments coming out of America, be it him or Vance.
Well, calling us freeloaders. Yeah, I know, that was disgusting. Yeah, of course. Now, I can see how you're offended by that, because that came out of that Signal chat that was leaked, where Vance called everyone Europeans freeloaders. Thank you, Gareth. Wow.
I'm with you, Gareth.
It goes on. Thanks for all your calls.